are today in Brookings, Oregon. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'm Amanda Whittemore. We are on the Quality Living with Peaceful Support program. And people are probably wondering, what is peaceful support? That's what I'm here to ask you. And what is quality living? Quality living is something that we do. And that word means something different to everybody. So we bring in everybody we can find here on this show to talk about quality living with peaceful support. And the most fun, I think, is that when we have returned guests, because that means that all of us are doing something, and usually it's for the best. And then we like to get updates and hear all about it. And so today, here on Peaceful Support with Quality Living, we have a local that was raised here and went to high school here and all the other school activities, and actually ended up going over to New York, working out there in New York, and is here to give some insight and feedback and some community support to our area. Hey, Nicky.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. That was a great introduction. Went to high school here. I know you mentioned that this show is about peaceful support, and I would actually like to express my story. My
Absolutely.
Growing up here, high school.
Yeah.
I do want to say in advance, it was definitely not how do I say it, a smooth ride during high school.
Okay.
There was a lot of bumpy roads. Okay. So I guess the reason I want to express this story is so for any kids out there that's didn't have the best start during high school, thinking they're like so behind, like there's no way for them to make it because they didn't have the best grades or they had a bad record.
Oh.
I'm gonna give my what happened to me.
Okay.
And how I have done okay. So why don't I start off with this? The end result, which is
okay.
Yeah. So now
show them where they're going. Right?
Yeah. Show them where they're going. Okay.
They know where they are.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So not to brag anything. So basically, graduated with a physics and a computer science minor degree. Went to New York. A consulting company found me, and then I ended up working for an investment bank. So people think, oh, you work in an investment bank, you're like, oh, must be making dough. Not true. I was like just little worker bee in there. It's my first job. Actually, that's a lie. My first job was a dishwasher. But anyways,
right.
My first real legit job. And then obviously when you work in a big corporate world, it has this drama, and you do get bullied. And then after 2 years, you got some experience in your belt. I guess you know how to navigate around. And then I basically moved to another company, and then I work 100% remote. I like to let the numbers do the talking. I mean, life is not all about money, how much you earn, but
it is a result.
It
could be.
It can be give you freedom in a way, and give you comfort. So basically, when I was like 29, I was making 140 grand a year and working like 2 hours a day as an engineer, remotely, travel anywhere you want. That's the end result. So the reason I want to express the end result, because I'm going to tell you the beginning.
Right, the process.
How bad the start was for me. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So make story short, born in Hong Kong. At the age of 10, I moved to England. At the age of 15, I moved to America, to Brookings. And then last time I was on here, as I told you, this is my story. This is what happened from my perspective. So, like I said, I moved into a small town, Brookings, and my dad so happened bought a house that's from a very well-known developer. He built that house for himself at that time, but the '08 crash happened, so he had to sell out of no choice. I was just a kid at the time, so obviously I didn't care about these things. So when I, moved here, everyone in town knew who I was and everything. And I came from before that. I was living in England. So in England, the culture is different. You can start drinking at the age of 12 there. Yeah, people didn't care. So the reason I want to explain this because when I was raised in England, we were drinking, and obviously I don't recommend underage drinking, of course, but
Right.
so basically I would have a bunch of friends come to my house and basically underage drinking. Well, in such a small town,
Oh.
basically the parents, they all knew about it.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. So they all like really concentrated their time on me.
Oh, like the outcast kind of.
Yeah, in a way. And then I was a sophomore that time. So then it slowly built up in like junior year that like really tried to get me.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then it got to a point where, because, the police in this town, they were literally waiting outside my gate every day.
Oh geez.
Yeah, just like try to catch me. Fast forward, by the time my senior year, I got my first MIP and I blew .00. They showed up at a party. I was outside, and then I was like, because at that time, yeah. So I actually blew .00. They still
That's
gave me
a minor in possession.
of alcohol, which I didn't even drink at that party.
Wow.
And the second one is I was actually just in a car, just driving back, and they knew there was a party up there, and they saw. For some reason, they knew I was in that car. They stopped that car. Same thing. Gave me a second MIP. Yeah, I admit I was drunk at that one. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I was just a passenger.
Yeah.
So I know this show's about peaceful living, but like I said, I want to explain all of this. And then it gets even worse, actually.
Yeah.
So then at that time, I was a senior in high school, and then I was like doing wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone know in their senior year when they play sports, you're like, you know what, this is you really want to.
You need to make it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as a kid, whatever sport you're doing, you think that's the world to you at that time.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and like I trained off season, got the weight cut and everything, and then they give me that MIP. Like I said, when I blow I put like a 0, they suspended me.
Oh.
Yeah, and so all of that all went from like down like a rabbit hole, like. And then basically, I was at a party and I actually drink and drive. So I got DUI on top of right.
Oh,
This is
Nicky.
this all happened in my senior year in high school.
Oh, that is early.
Yeah, and thank you to my mom.
Yeah.
She supported me. Along with my dad, of course. But yeah, they got a lawyer, went to court. All I got was basically I got all of that record off. I had to take like these classes, and then I don't have any of this on my record, because one of the main reasons was because they shouldn't have given me an MIP when I blew a .00. But ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, I was targeted,
Right.
and I don't want to talk negative about this town, nothing, but I'm just speaking my truth, what happened.
Right.
And then, and yeah, I graduated high school with like a 2.4, to be honest. So everyone should know what 2.4 is, like B's and C's. And,
I mean, you graduated, so that's a good. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Another thing is, like, once again, once again, I'm not saying bad thing about this town, first of all, but sometimes in small towns, there's no checks and balance.
Right. Right.
And I do want to say there are pros about small towns, and there are
of course.
cons. I'm going to say the
But
cons.
you got to say all the sides, not just.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, there are good side about a small town, but as we're on this topic and about education, I really learned nothing because
There's.
I don't want to sound so negative, but teachers are not held accountable.
Right. Right.
I'll give you an example. If you're in a bigger school, in a bigger place, or specific district, they will look at the average of SAT scores, and then they would like ask, why is this grade like the average SAT is not so good?
That's true.
But in some school, they don't care. They just pass you. But anyways, I didn't know that at that time until my parents forced me to go to college. And my mom said, I don't care where you go. I'll pay for your school. You just need to go to college. So me at that time, I was like, well, I can't get into any university. So I can't exactly live the university life.
Because of the grades?
Yeah, so I have to go to a city college.
Oh.
So I went online and Googled the top party school in the nation for city college. I ended up in Santa Barbara.
Of course. Wow, really?
Yeah, but so how it works is you
Cal
can...
Poly?
No, actually Isla Vista, where
Isla
the UCSB.
Okay, that's San Luis Obispo. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I couldn't get into that school.
Oh, no.
So it happened, there's a dorm there for city college kids, and there's a bus that takes you like to the city college.
To the city college, so you...
So you live in the university life, but as a city college student. So yeah. And
Wild.
yeah. And this dorm was not cheap to live in. What happened was, essentially, I realized there's a relationship. Basically, everyone who's in that dorm, their parents had a little bit of money, but the kids all did not do well enough to get into a university. So they all ended up there. Yeah.
Right.
So basically, we were just partying all the time. There's
no studying.
No studying. Well, you must be wondering, how come I
got the physics?
Yeah, got all of this. This is where the turning point is. So I was in school, first semester, went okay. And then I met this one guy. He was getting straight A's. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, I was like, oh, how are you getting straight A's? Because it's never been my priority to get good grades. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, yeah, my parents pays everything for me. All I have to do is just study a couple hours a day. I don't have to work to pay for my rent, nothing. I just need to study a couple hours a day and then I'm good. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I basically did that. I was like, yeah, well, I can probably do the same. Just study a couple hours a day.
Right.
And yeah, I did that. And then once you make, at least for me,
yeah.
How would I explain it? Once you get the momentum going, once you have your first straight A in a semester, you want to keep that going.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to the gym, right?
I had no problem with the motivation going to the gym. But
okay.
The motivation studying is the hard part.
Okay.
And one thing led to another. You slowly will find your study group with other people who wants to get straight A's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I start getting pretty much straight A's, and then I transferred to so after the city college, the first 2 years, you transfer to a university. So
did you still party?
Yes, but like in an organized way.
Oh,
Study first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super smart.
Yeah, you still go. Well, yeah, we still went out, but like we would definitely study first.
Eat well.
Yeah.
You can party harder.
We'll plan it. Yeah, we definitely planned it in advance.
Okay.
And then, and then I went off to, I transferred to University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. That was another reality check because essentially what happened was, the people who I was studying with, we were all in a class. We all get like actually 90% to get A's and stuff.
And that's difficult.
Yeah, sure.
It could be if you don't study.
Yeah, but the problem was the school I went to. Essentially, what happened? Anyone who couldn't get into Berkeley, that was the next option.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's not the reason why I went. There's a whole different reason. But my point is, I was actually like hanging out with like serious nerds. Like, when I say the nerds, I'm not racist or anything, but Indian, Pakistan, and the Asian kids, they will all be in the basement all the time.
Really?
Yeah, and these were the people I was going up against. And on a test, you don't get 80%, 70. You have to beat the curve. Like you have to beat the average.
You got to
pass
99.
No. So like everyone gets around 60%. So then like let's say the average was like 50%. So if you got like a 51 or 52, you pass. You will actually get B. Yeah. It's called beating the curve that way.
Okay. All right.
So when I went to that school, that was another reality check for me. I realized, holy crap, there's different levels to this. Like, you was from, oh, you actually study a couple hours a day. No, no. You need to study the whole time. There's no relaxing.
Oh, man.
You're literally, well, at least for me, you're literally going through the problems, trying to find the most difficult one, be prepared for the test.
Right.
And then fast forward to my senior year, I think I explained this last time. I did all my core classes in my university. What I mean by that is normally people take like 1 or 2 gen ed along with 1 or 2 your core, whatever your major is.
Right, right.
But I did strictly all my like physics and math in advance. So I purposely left my senior year just doing gen ed to have an easy year, like, relaxing year.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So as I was going to my senior year, I was spending my junior year, doing like these quantum physics, like spending like I'll do like one question a week. I would spend 1 week on one question just on probability. And yeah, it was just like, I was like, I don't really care about this anymore. And then I met this PhD computer science guy. Well, just a quick explanation. To get into the PhD program, especially in my school, you have to be like the top of the top. Like, what I mean by that is the guy who told me about doing computer science, he was from Iran. They have a SAT like system there too. He scored the top 10 in his nation that year.
Ooh.
Yeah, he couldn't even make this up. I even asked him, like, you couldn't say top 9 or top 3. He goes, no, I'm not lying. I really scored top 10 in my nation. So, and his research was on hardware failure. So when the plane goes down, how the hardware recovers. My point is, there's only like a handful of people in the world can do what he does.
Holy goodness.
Yeah. But obviously, people on the news, people don't talk about these people. These are just like very niche area engineers that are in the industry right now. They pay PhD computer science like a minimum $300,000 a year. He's currently making around. He's actually working for Stripe. So for people who doesn't know what Stripe is, it's the credit card company. Every time you swipe,
I know what that is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when you swipe it, that takes a 3% fee. He's working for that company.
Wow.
And they are paying him $500,000 a year base. And all he's doing is he's trying to predict, is anyone, when you try to dispute a credit card charge, they want to know, are you telling the truth?
Right. Of course they do.
Right. So before AI, the technique using AI, you have to do a bunch of investigation. You have to see this guy's history. You have to go talk to, the other side and get the story. Well, obviously, they're paying him to like come up with a model where it automatically gives you like a accurate
scenarios.
Yeah.
Like an algorithm.
Right. The reason I'm explaining this guy's quite credible. So he's like, yeah, why do you spend so much time on these physics questions?
Right.
I was just interning for Apple at that time. At that time, he was interning for Apple. He was like telling me he made like $10,000 a month as an intern. So I was like, okay, all right, I need to change this. I cannot do physics. So he said, oh yeah, go take these 3 computer science classes and then you'll be good. So then I did. It was absolutely hell. I really did not sleep for 3 days on one of the class because I took those classes as my gen ed. So if I didn't pass, I wouldn't have graduated.
Oh my God.
And as you can see how pissed my parents would be if they're like, why did you not graduate when you're supposed to?
Right.
Well, I can't tell them, but yeah, sorry, mom, dad. I took this random class. This random guy told me apparently he's going to allow me to, to get good pay. Little did I realize I was essentially this is what's happening in this world right now. You got a bunch of Indian, Pakistan, and Asian kids in their own country at the age of 14 or 12.
Right.
In their education system, they all started coding.
And this is exactly the point, going back to the fact that there's no accountability. And what are the kids studying in a local rural school system and the foundation that they have?
Yes, but I didn't want to talk specifically about Brookings. My point is, I think
in general.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, in America, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a huge issue.
And how I put all this together is when I studied with them, I talked to them. They said, yeah, we've been doing this since we're like 14. This is easy. This is like natural nature to be.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And as a guy who did physics, I had an ego. I was like, how hard could this be?
Right. Computer science.
Yeah, but it was actually, I actually truly understand why it's such a high paying job, because the learning curve is actually pretty tough. And when you have kids, this is why it's so important. I want to tell people who have kids out there, like, learning how to code is literally learning to speak another language.
It is.
So if you start young, your brain absorbs so easy. That's a fact. As you grow older, it's harder to learn.
Yeah.
So if you start young, it will be very easy for you to pick this up as another language. And by the time you're 18, knowing how to code is just knowing how to use a hammer.
Exactly.
But if you know math, very good math statistic, and like data analytic, so that's like having the brains how to organize. It's like a contractor, how to organize in building a house.
Right. Or a doctor.
Yes. So essentially, these kids already going to the school, coding is not a friction. They're just learning the complicated. There's like very niche industry, like the hottest one, like AI, crypto.
And what's funny, actually, for some reason this came to mind, is like people in the United States get so irritated and upset that they're talking to somebody from India. But it's like, actually, that person, just because they don't speak English, they speak 8 other languages, including code.
Yeah.
And they could turn off the entire household with the press of a button. But, it's because of the lack of education we have.
Yeah. Well, yes, that itself is a problem. But what's even worse is what's even worse is on top of this, these kids, they come here not from America.
Right.
Around junior year, big tech company comes to these major school like Berkeley, like my school. They come and recruit these kids.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what the problem is. All the money are not going back to the U.S. citizen.
Because they can't win the
they cannot beat the
score.
Yeah, or they don't pass the interview.
Right.
I say big tech, but there's a bunch of other companies looking for the same talent.
Right. Because of the education level.
Right, and I'm going to give some numbers out now. How much a big tech paying? Start off, I'm talking about kids are 22.
Yeah.
Fresh graduate, first job.
Yeah.
Right now, Google, Facebook, Amazon, fresh graduate, start off salary is 150 base with stock option, extra 50. And so it's 200.
Yeah.
I have personal friend who got into Facebook with, I think they give you sign-on bonus. And then they just took it away because they said they're not doing that well, which they are. I mean,
things are moving around.
Yeah, moving around.
Yeah.
And so my point is, as I went to New York, I would go to clubs, and I used to see all these Indian and Pakistan kids having private table.
Of course, and they're like $300 for that table. Not counting the alcohol.
It's way more than that.
Really?
It's a couple grand. Yeah, I never understood it. I never understood why. Now I know why, because these kids, they all work for big tech, and they just got so much money. Yeah, they don't know what to do with it.
Oh my god!
So the reason I want to tell all of this story is because I don't want to say coding. I want to treat coding as another language. Because if you do know how to code in the future, if you ever work on a computer, it will help you. Like, you can speed things up a lot quicker. You don't have to look everything up with your eyes.
True.
You can have to check like 20 pages for your 100 or 1,000. It just takes 1 second. That's the value of knowing how to code.
Whoa.
You can organize. You can interpret the code in doing whatever you want on a computer. I know we don't have much time left. That's why I just want to jump into that. But yeah, that's basically the summary of it. Yeah, I basically graduated, and then I know a little bit how to code, and that's why I want to tell you the end result. Just for 1 year of learning strictly how to code, got me a job that can pay up to 140. Don't get me wrong, I've tried to get those 300,000.
Right.
They are not easy because I was trying to get into this quant, like a fast trading company.
Okay, right.
like I said, there's levels.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it goes
So yeah,
deep.
yeah. So anyways, that's all.
Yeah, and for if any parents or grandparents or aunties, uncles, people who care about the future generation and people who could, really make a difference, or, maybe we didn't have the best opportunity or the best, support in the right direction, this is the way to do it. Like, it really is. It's study, get them into the college, make sure that they're doing something with computers.
I really recommend study young. Like,
Study young.
I really wish I did study young.
Push them, right?
Yeah, like I really regretted not trying to
Me too. Like nobody's business.
Yeah. That's all. Like I said, studying young is very easy, and everyone should try to learn Python at least. I feel like you definitely should try it. I know in the beginning when you learn it, you're like, why would I use this? Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain, but it will help you. And one more thing is, for anyone listening out there, if you go on udemy.com.
What is it?
Udemy.com. UDEMY.com.
UDMEY.
UDEMY.com. You can go on there, find any classes that teach you how to make a website. I'm not talking about like those website builder. Yeah, of course.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about like actually how to build on ground up. Because you won't use it, but it'll teach you a bunch of skills.
Right.
And it costs $10 for that class. Literally $10. I want to tell you this. It says $100. There's always like coupons on Honey.
Okay.
You can get it for $10.
Okay.
My point is, if you know one of those class, I'm talking about the ins and outs. It's not easy.
No, right.
If you know it very well,
right.
You go get an interview for any tech company. You can make a website in and out, like back end, front end yourself. Guarantee 6-figure job. Start off. It doesn't matter if you're 16 or 15. They will hire you.
That's true.
Yes, that's a guarantee. Yeah, that's about it.
And that's a really good gift to the community here for a rural area, or anybody else who has friends in a rural area. Give them this website, kciw.org/quality-living. That will take them to the program here on the radio. And we want to thank Nicky for being here and coming back from New York and teaching the kids.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. We'll do it again.